You got to send me the link. Miss Angelieri just said, thank you. You're welcome, ma'am. We didn't even start yet, but you are welcome. Tass, how's everything going, man? How'd it go last night?
It's Matterport, not Matador.
He's still talking over there, isn't he?
He's still talking to someone.
Things are good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm, realize how long classes can be at night. I might create a bloopers reel of all the things that students say when I am on the floor teaching.
What you need to do, because we are transparent, everybody, what you need to do is show that little video clip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Hey, guys, tune in because, hey, Clark says, hello, Goyd looking.
He must be talking to you.
No, he wasn't the strongest speller in school.
Still isn't.
That's Chris Clark, yeah. Because he's a loyal fan, Chris Clark.
Well, you got two of them. Sorry, Kat.
And there's three. There's your mom.
There's my mom. Clark, an 8x10 headshot of Tass and I coming your way. Signed, buddy. That's not Flonnie. Sorry. Anyway, well, we're almost up to 50% of our viewership. We're at 9. And Silverman, by the way, still looking for.
What's up, Sylv?
Not much. What's going on?
How you doing?
You tell you about the sinkhole
About what? The sinkhole? No.
in Lakeland?
No, is it right where there's going to be a property built?
Little delay.
Don't stress it.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
No.
Oh man, just a little.
All right. So, hey, by the way, guys, yeah, send me the link if you find it though. Hey, the title of the show worked. Don't listen to any consultants. So we have no one on. Well, we have our favorite people on. Mr. McGraw, Mr. Walls, Miss Angelieri. Come on, guys. Type it in. Tell Mr. Zimmerman Chris Clark said hello. Anyway.
Listen, you guys, probably what happens, I'm guessing, nobody likes to get on here early because they know it's just banter for the first 5 minutes. But
that's the best part, man.
Yeah, that's right.
The best part. So Tass, yeah, by the way, everybody, for those of you tuning in, Tass is available to be a guest instructor at your school. He went in, taught a class. They picked up on their little security cameras as he was out there on the floor of a child coming into the office and saying what, Tass?
You know what? I don't know. I can't say it as good.
All right. So you're going to see this live, everybody.
I'm just going to show it.
You're going to see a recording. This is what, if you want Tass to come out to your school and teach a class for you, this is.
I will translate. I will translate. You still there, Metz?
Just put the. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
No, I'm just going to say if I don't show up in the next 2 weeks, it's because of him, and I'm not going to tolerate it.
He just said, I'm just going to say, if I don't show up for the next 2 weeks, it's because of him, and I'm not going to tolerate it.
So, if you do not have a retention problem in your school and you'd like one, have Tass come on out and teach a few classes.
And if you didn't notice, that was a white belt, just so we're clear.
Yeah, because they don't matter.
No, who needs white belts?
Yeah, we don't need them. Anyway, I thought I love that. That should be an opening video at the Super Show.
Right?
Let us Shane Tassoul teaching the next instructor college.
That's right. I'm on it.
Oh my gosh. What is this? What's the website for booking tasks?
That's right. That's
How
right.
to losingyourstudents.com.
That's
Just
right.
go there and book your appointment.
How to go from 100 to 0 as fast as possible.
If you want to get out of the martial arts business, TAS can help you. Hey, so thanks for tuning in, guys. We talked, the title of this is Do Not Listen to Any Consultants, but Listen to This, right? And here's what I mean by that. Well, TAS, why don't you tell them what we mean by that?
Sure, I can get started if you'd like. Look, we've said this 100 times, right? There are a lot of people, there are a lot of consultants, in the industry, and there's a lot of good consultants, and there's a lot of consultants that get people results. And I think sometimes, when we do say this, you have to look at it and figure out if you work with a consultant and you go from, I'm just making this up, from $10,000 to $20,000 a month, you may be singing their praises because you've just doubled your income or doubled your gross, as an example. The question is do you really know? Could you have gone from 10,000 to 40,000 or 10,000 to 50,000, right? So everybody has a way of doing things. And some of those things work and some things just work better. And oftentimes, in the industry, we see snapshots of certain things, and it can lure us in. And I think it's important to understand it's just that, it's a snapshot. And I think you really need to dive in deeper, because when we see, or I see snapshots, or we see snapshots, we can pretty well dive in and just look at the numbers and make sense of some things. And we know what else is going on. We don't need a whole lot of explanation because we can read through some of those things. And so that's really what it is. We've got great systems, and I say we as in Maya, not as in me and Metzger, right? And the reason, and he'll talk about this as well, but the reason is because the way in which we do consulting and being one-on-one for years and years and years, it's not about us. It's about learning from our clients, learning what they're doing well, because everybody has something that they do well. And once we know that they have something to do well, if we can take that and we can systematize it and make it work for the masses, that's what we do. And that's what's been happening with Maya, over the course of the last however many years it's been, is not just it's our way and our systems, it's what we've learned from everybody. And every year, I will tell you, every year we continue to evolve. And I know I've seen the stigma sometimes, oh, don't do the same old thing. And I'm not sure if that's talking in a rap on Maya or who it is, but that's not us, because we continually evolve every single year.
Yeah. And listen, so I see this all the time. And one thing you're not going to see is we're not ever going to knock anybody, because I've said this a million times. I believe that the consultants that are out there are genuinely out there for the greater good of our industry and trying to help the school owners. I believe they're trying to help. Where I have an issue, though, is where any consultants say, you don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, because how do I know what to do or what not to do? The only thing that we can do is show you what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, right? Then you need to make your own decision. So the point of do not listen to consultants, we could brainwash you guys. I mean, look, when I say you guys, I mean anybody on the planet. We're getting brainwashed now with the media. I mean, we're constantly being brainwashed, guys. I mean, whether you want to admit it or not, it's at what level are we getting brainwashed? Whether it's about COVID or a vaccine, I believe COVID's real. I don't believe it's real. The vaccine's going to kill me. The vaccine's going to save me. I mean, everybody gets their interpretations, but unless you're a scientist in the lab, you really have no idea. You're going by whatever it is that you're reading and the information out there. It's the same thing here with the consultants in our industry. If you're a school owner that wants to grow your school and succeed, be smart enough to dive in to all the consultants out there, then make a decision on what makes the most sense for you. But the biggest thing is the why behind it. Now, one of the things that Tassoul has said in the past is one of the reasons why he jumped on board with Maya 12, 13, 14 years ago was he couldn't believe the transparency as far as how open we are.
Right.
I'm never going to put Watch here. Let me give an example. I'll give you real world examples, right? I just got this when I was on vacation last week, right? Here it is. I'm gonna open up my phone because it's a Droid, not an iPhone.
Don't show them that pic. Don't show them the pic.
So look, so I said, Pete, can you text me the numbers for May? Well, look, Lake Nona did $91,638. So I could post that. 91. Now there's a lot of people that are gonna be like, oh my God, 91,000. Okay, I'm gonna call Metzger. I gotta know. But the first question you should say is, well, how'd you do 91,000? Number one, right? Did you cash everybody out? Because if I cashed everybody out, then I would think if you got that information, you shouldn't follow our lead on that, right? Is it because I collected all this summer camp revenue and signed up all these summer campers? If it is, you got to decide. But if you're a school that's like, well, I don't want to do summer camp, then you shouldn't follow my information. If you are going to do summer camp, you should be on the phone with me finding out how I did it. Now, that was not the case with us, but you got to dive into the numbers. Number one, how did you do 91,000? The second thing you should do is say,
listen, I just want to make sure that you're clear on that, right? Because that did not, there is no summer camp in that number.
No,
there's no summer camp. Just want to be clear about that. Okay.
And there's no cash outs in that number.
Correct.
There's paid in fulls with new people. There's no, that school's billing. Well, let's not guess. I have it right here because everybody says, like, well, what about your billing check? Well, let's see. Lake Nona. Okay, here it is right here. You can't see it. It's too small. Can you see that, Tass?
37. Is that 37?
Yeah, 37,793 is their recurring billing. 37,000, right? And so, but the next question you should ask is, well, that's 1 month. What did you do the month before, and the month before, and the month before, and the month before? And how do you do that? And how many students do you have? What do you charge for classes? How many staff members are running that school? How big is that school? You guys, listen, don't listen to me. Listen to yourself after you get all the information. That's what I mean by don't listen to consultants. Listen to yourself. And the thing that bothers me or eats away at me, right, is most of you in the industry, if not everybody in the industry, they want to be more successful. Now, you can lie to yourself and say, no, I'm fine the way I'm. No, you would still want to be better. I just don't understand why somebody would say, I don't want to be any better. I don't want to make any more money. I don't want my students to be any better than what they are. Like, I don't understand that thought process. So let's just be honest. You want to be better. You want to be more financially successful. You want to produce better students. You want to have help and better staff members. You want to be able to pay staff. I mean, of course you would. Of course you would. Now, if you say, no, I wouldn't because nobody can teach as good as me, then I'm going to say, you're going to want to be able to train people better so they do teach as good as you. I mean, we could go down the line, but everybody wants to be. The problem is most of us are afraid and we make excuses and we bash or we shy away from, or we say, I'm not going to listen to them, or we have an ego that, look, I've been in martial arts for 40 years and, who are these guys to tell me how to run things? Those guys are just this. These people are just that. We don't want to water down our students. We don't want to. It's all excuses in your own mind until you get on the phone and really listen and figure it out and then decide, does that make sense? Now, here's the other thing that I'll say. There are certain things that you may believe in your own mind, well, that won't work. But you would have to be smart enough to know that you're completely wrong if we could show you that we just did this yesterday. What was it? A little over 30,000 students, by the way, Tass, 30,000 students in the CMA affiliates, right? So if it's working for 30,000 students, you can't say it won't work for your 200 students.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's impossible. So you got to get through all of that stuff and really ask all the questions of, well, why do you do it that way? And like you said, Tass, we didn't come up with this. I mean, if you go back and read an article in MA Success magazine from like 15 years ago or more, when I wrote an article, it totally contradicts to what I would say today about upgrades, by the way, about upgrades. Because working with schools, I've learned different things, and we've created a way to, number one, don't force people to upgrade. Allow people to stay in a regular program and get to black belt. Don't water down your core curriculum to upgrade. Don't, by the way, my article task said, if anybody, I don't remember what edition it was, but it said, if anybody wants to upgrade into a higher program, their rate gets lowered. That's in print. Yeah. Right. Because I didn't understand at the time. And that's the way we did things until I started working with a bunch of school owners. So what say you, sir?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Me, listen, I mean, yeah, I said it earlier, right? Things continue to evolve, and the more clients we talk to, the more ideas that we get, and we just become the conduit. We become like the information gatherers, and we have all this information coming in, and then we do exactly what Metzger says, right? We ask the questions. Well, wait a minute. How did you do that revenue? Oh, like here's an example, right? I'm just using this as an example. Well, private lessons. Well, we could just say, oh, wow, that's incredible. Or, well, how many private lessons is that? Okay, well, how many people is that? Well, those numbers don't make sense. Oh, well, we sell private lesson packages. Well, how many lessons are in the package? Oh, well, how many packages are you selling? I mean, and then it's like, oh, well, maybe we should do private lesson packages, right? So that's an example of something also that we've learned from client, or a client specifically, and we have implemented that over, I don't know, it's been however long it's been now, last 10 years or whatever it's been. And that has made a world of difference for people that want to offer private lessons in their school, want to offer another service for their students, and be able to generate revenue doing that. And this isn't a conversation about, well, we don't do private lessons, we do booster classes and they're free. We believe that's for good retention and good customer service. That's fantastic, right? And I'm going to say this is kind of off topic, but my chief instructor right now is serving in the National Guard. So I've been on the floor since Monday, right? A whole 3 days. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, if you're not charging for private lessons, you need to be, because here's the thing. I got in, I'm like, oh, we're going to be through all of our private lessons because we just got through our black belt test. And Monday I get in, they're like, oh, we have a private lesson at 3:30. I'm like, oh. And then Tuesday we had private lessons at 3 and 3:30. I'm like, oh. Your instructors, right, take a toll. And if you want to be able to pay someone not to have a job, but to be able to have a career, there are certain things that we need to make sure. We need to generate revenue in our school, period, in order for us to be able to do that, and in order for us to be able to provide a career. Because a lot of us think that what we do is relatively simple, and it is, but it can, just like anything, we talk about how sometimes fun can get boring, right? Well, that's the same thing with your job or your career in teaching. Sometimes after a time, that fun and excitement of teaching martial arts can get to be exhausting. And there's got to be some sort of a trade-off there. So, you've got to be able to generate that revenue so that you can afford to pay your people what they deserve. And it's tough. And today's times is tough as well, right? Because everything's more expensive, and then people can get these higher paying jobs and inflation, all these things. So I just think it's important to understand, you need to learn how not to nickel and dime your students, but how to maximize the revenue in your school by giving people options and opportunities so that you, not as the owner, but as the owner, can take more, but also be able to give more to your team. And that's why business systems are so important.
And I'm going to tell you something else, because you guys should be thinking it, right? Man, Tassoul's been a consultant for X amount of years. Why is he in the school teaching classes? His chief instructor's out. You know why? Because I like to think that I still we help each other. I think I mentor Tass as much as he may mentor me. And I said to him, I said, look, you've been so focused on working with Maya and doing all this stuff. I said, take the opportunity. When your chief instructor goes away for the 2 weeks, even though he has assistants in there, I said, get in your school and teach classes and just get the vibe and see what it is. We do practice what we preach. And I said, make the commitment. I said, make a commitment and get in there, because I know, and he knows, that school can be doing even better than what it's doing now, which it's doing great, but it could be doing better. And I said, this is your opportunity for a reason to go in there when your chief's out, go in there for a period of time and work that. And he's committed to do that. And so we're martial artists first and foremost. I mean, and that's a great example of it, right? The other thing I want to give you is a freebie, everybody. Listen to this. Here's another example. Another example is how we've learned from other clients. If you guys are friends with Brian Maurer out of Baltimore, tag him on this. Tag Brian Maurer on this, because I consulted with him years ago, going back. I was consulting him 12 years ago, maybe 13 years ago. I don't even remember. Great guy. But how many of you believe, put a thumbs up or thumbs down on this. Do buddy passes work? When you give buddy passes, put a thumbs up or thumbs down. Let's see it. Do buddy passes work to get your students to bring buddies in or refer people? Yes or no? Let's see what you guys say on that. Tass, do we have a little waiting music?
Yeah.
Am I muted?
I was watching. Did you see the I don't know what they call it, Jim Carrey?
Well, I just said I'm going to give everyone a freebie here.
Right.
I want to know. Go ahead, Tass. What?
It was Jim Carrey, and what do they do for the movies? Is it the Grammys? Is that what it is, or the Oscars?
The Oscars, yeah.
Oscars. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I think it was a flashback from years ago when he was sitting down eating, and they had asked him to move. I don't know if you've seen the replay. They asked him to move, and he's like, "Are you guys serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're talking from the stage to Jim Carrey, who's in the audience, and they're like, "Yes, don't make this any more difficult than it is." And the security guard comes and puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, "Fine, I'll move." And he goes like, "Do you want me to take my plate with me too?" He's like, "I wouldn't want to leave any, any of my DNA, for in the studio." And so he moves up. He moves up to a spot, and he's like, they're still talking to him. He's like, "What? I can't hear you. I can see your lips moving, but you're so far away. The sound isn't getting to me." So I thought maybe just the sound wasn't getting to everybody, which is why
maybe it could be. Here's the deal, though. Listen to this, guys. When I was talking with Maurer, and I said, "Hey, what about buddy?" I don't even remember the conversation, but he said, he goes, "Do you know what we do?" He asked me. Now I'm his consultant at the time, and he asks me. He says, "Hey, do you ever give passes out to your students? And at the end of the night, like you see them in the parking lot, and they're on the ground, and they're on the floor, or they're disheveled on your counter or whatever, right?" Of course. Well, what they did was, for the holidays, and now watch, all the elite people are going to know this. This was not my idea. This was an idea I got from Brian Maurer, who got this idea from someone else, possibly, right? But he said, we do a white belt in a bag. And what we do for the holidays is we'll get like a wine bag. We'll put some tissue paper in there. We have white belts lined up in the back and these bags, all the bags with a belt in them. And he tells his students, he says, "Hey, how many of you, in a nutshell, this is the concept, how many of you would like to give a free holiday gift to any one friend or family member you want to give?" And he gets the kids raising their hand, or the students. He goes, "When I dismiss you, go to the back, pull a white belt out of any bag, and think of a friend you want to do it, and write their name with a Sharpie on the white belt, and then put the belt back in the bag." Now, in that bag, there's a certificate in there that says, "Happy holidays," basically, "Congratulations on receiving your first martial arts belt. Use this certificate to get 30 days free and a uniform to go along with your belt." Okay. And that's a concept. Over the years, we may have evolved that a little bit, but basically that's the concept. And I don't want to spend anyone's money. If you don't want to give a uniform, don't give a uniform. But basically he said, now, one thing we found out was we knew when they grabbed their bag and they wrote their friend's name on that belt, a very high percentage of those passes and bags made it to a destination. You didn't find these bags laying out in the parking lot. It was a twist and a different presentation on getting referrals to your school. Okay, pause for a minute. So I said, that is a great idea. That's a great idea. We started doing it and it worked unbelievable for us. It worked so much for us that I actually had Miss Ramos, who was just calling my phone. I have a missed call. Oh, she said, oh my God, sorry, you're in a Zoom. Miss Ramos, ironically. She came in over the holidays at one point in our offices here and wanted to get some extra hours at the time, 12 years ago. And she was stuffing all these bags for all the schools so the schools can come pick them up and take them to their schools. Well, I started teaching other people this method, right? It worked so well for some of our clients that they started not just doing this for the holidays, they started doing this every single time they enrolled a new student. Every time they enrolled a new student, they gave them 2 white belt in a bag. They said, congratulations, we're so excited to have you. We want to give you this. This is a gift that you can give to anybody that you feel can benefit from our martial arts program. And in here is a white belt and a 30-day free certificate to try classes, and they'll get a uniform to go along with that belt when they come in. They'll get a free evaluation lesson and 30 days free. Here you go. Do you have anybody in mind that you'd want to give this to? If so, write it now. Here's a Sharpie. You could write their name on the belt and give this to them as a gift. They started getting so many new students from this as referrals. They just implemented that as a normal system. This is an example, another example of how we've learned as much from the industry. The problem is, like Mr. Maurer, Brian Maurer in Baltimore, well, he wasn't doing $30,000 a month in private lesson packages. That was somebody else I worked with. And that person wasn't getting any referrals. So I told him about Maurer. I told him about the other guy. I won't mention his name because I know he likes to keep things too quiet. But my point is here's the difference. I've worked with hundreds of school owners, and every one of those school owners, not every one of them, but the majority of those school owners always did something that just worked unbelievable for them. And I would take that, do it in our schools, systemize it, and then teach it to everyone else. Then this person would do something, and then this person. And like Taff said, we become a funnel, and we've systemized these things. Now, fast forward to today, our schools are extremely successful in every sense of the word. Quality of martial arts, financially, we're able to give careers to Connor. Do you know how many people do we have working here? Do you know?
I don't know how many off the top of my head, but I know how many managers.
You're HR, aren't you? We should know these things. I mean, it's 70 plus, right?
Yeah.
70 plus.
Yeah.
70 plus people in careers here. That makes me happier than anything, that to provide these careers. And by the way, that you guys have to understand this. There's a difference between offering someone a job and offering someone a career. But if we weren't able to take all of these lessons that we've put the work in, that's the thing. I don't know who else for the next 20 years is going to get on the phone every week after week after week after week, talking one-on-one with school owners for 20 years to learn that stuff. I mean, the only reason I did it, I'm going to be honest, let me just tell this quick story and then I'm throwing the baton to you, Tass. Silverman and I had 3 schools. This is going back over 20 years. He had 3 schools. And we did pretty well. They were self-run. We were fishing on his boat. We were going fishing a lot. In the middle of the day, we were going fishing. Well, like Tass said, even fun gets boring. Fishing gets boring. especially when I had Silverman bait in my hook and all that shit, because I'm not touching that. Okay, let me hear the comments.
Tough martial art guy.
Right. There's a reason I wear protective gear too when I spar. I don't.
Oh my God.
So anyway, my point is we said, hey, you know what? We could offer Maya, if you guys old timers remember, the boxes that you got in the mail. I said, we could do a consulting. He said, we could do consulting. We could make it like one-on-one, different than any other consulting out there. I said, look, I'll do that, right? Because that'll give me something to do, and I'd love to give back, and this, that, and the other. And that's how it started. So we created the Maya Elite program, which is one-on-one consulting. And it started, and I remember telling Maya at the time in Oklahoma, Century Martial Arts is the parent company. And I said, look, I'll take 15 people at one time. I'll work with 15. That's my limit. I'll work with 15 school owners, and I'll work with them every week. I mean, the deal with the Elite is you get a scheduled call like every other week. Back then it was every other week there'd be a scheduled call. Well, something went down and happened where I went from 15 school owners to 38 school owners. And those 38 schools that I was working with stayed for years. They're still here. I mean, you know that. Years and years and years and years. So for a period of about 7 years, I was working with 38 school owners. Very, very difficult, very hard, very exhausting, only because it's scheduled. No matter what I had going on with my own business or schools or company, if it was 3 o'clock and it was Tuesday and I had to call this person, I had to stop everything and get on the phone and call this person. But that was my commitment. That's what I did. And the knowledge that I've gained from that, right, is invaluable. And also for all our other consultants, it's invaluable. So we've taken these things and now we pass it on. So when I see people out in Facebook world saying, that stuff doesn't work or this doesn't work, I mean, you have to know we're just kind of snickering behind the scenes here saying, man, I just wish I can shake you a little bit and just tell you you're 100% incorrect. I mean, you're just wrong and not being demoralizing, but just frustrated that, man, if you're doing 10,000 a month, we could get you to 50. If you're doing 50, we could get you to 80. If you're doing 80, we could get you to 100. How many schools do you personally work with, Tass, that average over 100,000 a month? About
7, probably.
Seven current schools averaging over $100,000 a month. Out of the 7 that average over 100,000 a month, how many do summer camp or after school?
Some of them did, and they no longer do. So I don't think I have anyone. I may have one school that's still doing summer camp, but their numbers are well over 100.
But by the way, I don't say this to say summer camp is bad.
Right.
I don't say it for that. I say it just so
we can compare apples to apples.
Apples to apples. And like summer camp is a necessity. Summer camp is a much higher ticket item, right? Where you could charge $200 a week or more, for per kid. That's none of this stuff, right? None of this stuff. So there's systems and we want to help all these school owners achieve all their success and whatever dreams you have for your business. That's it. So it's frustrating sometimes. And as I said, I believe other consultants they want to do the same thing, but don't listen to us. Don't just dive into one consultant and just say, okay, do your homework, guys. Do your homework. Go ahead, Tass.
Yeah, it's interesting over the years in consulting, the experience, that you gain, and it's because you're in the trenches with everybody and you're having these conversations, and maybe I'll liken it to this, like for some of you that have students come in and maybe you're doing something in class and they say, well, what if this, or what, like this happens a lot in self-defense. Well, what if, and you already know all the answers to those questions, but we get caught up in, I always call it what ifville. Okay. I just say, well, what if it works? Like that's always my response to that. But here's what I have to be careful of as a consultant. When somebody calls me to tell me the current state of where they're at, and how they're doing their business, they can get about 2 sentences in and I can finish the rest of the story for them, because I've heard the same story literally hundreds of times. And they can tell me a key, they can tell me their students, they can tell me this, and or they can tell me just how much they charge and how much they're grossing. I can tell you how many students they have. I mean, it seems like it's all this mystical math and like ninja, tricks. It's not. It's just because we've seen every situation that you can imagine that's out there. We've heard everything I think that we could possibly hear. And sometimes we have a whiz banger that was like, oh, that's a new one. But because we've just seen it, we've dissected it, and we understand the business, we're able to help. And so my personality is I always just want to dig in and go, because I know what I can do for that person, right? And I've learned that I need to step back a little bit and make sure that the person understands the reasons why we're going to do it, and are they mentally prepared, and are they ready? Do they have the right mindset? And look, and if anyone is watching this, or you talk to somebody and you think that it may be a good fit for you, here's what I will tell you as a consultant. I think this is would be a pretty broad statement for any consultant out there. But don't come to a consultant to ask for advice or to get coaching if you're not ready to be coached. Because what you have to remember is what got you to where you are isn't going to get you to where you want to go. And you're going to get uncomfortable. There's going to be things that you're going to have to make changes with. And a great consultant will help you make those incremental changes, but it will increase and maximize your revenue exponentially. But it takes time to do that. And if you're just very, and this happens sometimes where people come in and they're very closed-minded about what they want. Well, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And then the conversation is, look, I still think that there's some areas that I can help, but just know ultimately it is your school. You run it how you want to. And at the end of the day, my job as a consultant, and I like coach better, but is to maximize your revenue and maximize your success. That is my goal. So if I want to bring you to here and you only want to go to here, that's fine, but that's going to be on you. So, having that right mindset when you come into it, we have to have an open mind. It's not because I'm any smarter than anybody. It's just not. It's just I learned things and I took action and I execute. And when I did that and I took action and executed, I did some things that put me in a big pinch of trouble. For example, Metzger said it earlier. I learned years ago from a different consultant that you should cash everybody out. And you don't cash out people, you cash out programs, and there's always another program. And that was ingrained in my memory. And I was a good student and I executed. And so what happened was I had 93% of my student base that was cashed out, and there was no monthly billing, recurring billing coming in. That's not that consultant's fault for saying that to me, because what I didn't do is put that money into a business savings and have the discipline to spend it, right? So I just want to be mindful when I say that, like, there are things that you can do in your business, but the biggest thing is take the information that you learn. I would suggest get it from one source. I've tried doing the pick and the buffet method, where I'm going to take what this person says and this person says and this, because I like all these little things. But we said it in the beginning of the call, or in the beginning of the Facebook Live, whatever this is. When you get a snapshot, that's all you're really getting is a snapshot. So you're seeing, and when people talk, they're typically going to put their best stuff out there, right? They're not going to put their worst stuff out. I think that's also where we're transparent. I mean, who's going to show a video of a kid saying, if I don't come back, that guy is the reason why, and I'm the instructor, right? Like, I think it's funny. I think it's fine, right? And by the way, I did work everything out with that mom, and we're all good, but we're very transparent. So they're going to put out their best stuff, and you're getting the best snippets of all these things, but you don't know how all of those things work together. So find someone that you resonate with, find someone that you think, hey, this really makes sense. And then that's the lane that you should go, and you should go down that lane and run with it. That's where I think, being successful, it's no different. If you've got 3 different coaches for martial arts, and they're all 3 different Taekwondo coaches, and one wants you to chamber one way, the other wants you to chamber different, like, which one do you listen to, right? And that can be difficult to do. So find somebody that resonates with you, listen to what they tell you, question it. It's okay to question so you understand the reason why. But most importantly is when you understand the reason why, then execute, and then the sky's the limit. It really is.
Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it really is. Listen, please don't get enamored with, well, it's easy not to get enamored with us. I get it. But don't just call us because I don't need the laughter back here, by the way, Miss Connor. I know she's enamored with us. She's been, how long have you been here? 10 years, 5 years, 3 years? 17 years she's been here. So obviously she's enamored with Silverman and I. But don't get enamored with anything. Just pick up the phone, call us, tell us your challenges, tell us what you're wanting, and we'll be honest and tell you if we can help, how we can help, why we can help, and then you decide.
And I can tell you, Mr. Sanchez, we can't help you. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't do that. And Mr. Walls, you can move to Florida. We have job and career openings. No, Mr. Walls, you're doing fantastic. Here's another example. I mean, Mr. Walls has a great story. We should have him on one time. I mean, just a great story there. But anyway, my point is we are just passionate about helping you guys out. And if you do call us and you hear our spiel, hang up the phone, call another consultant and listen to their spiel and what they got for you. Hang up the phone, pick up another one. So, by the way, you want to vote for Mr. Sanchez? Mr. Sanchez, you're saying who will vote for me when I become president? Obviously, we won't have to vote for you once you're president. It's once you run for president, maybe we will. But by the way, we're gonna look at all the candidates. We're gonna look at all of them, and we're gonna make our own decision. So,
and that is a great ending to a great show.
There you go. Anyway, guys, happy to help. Thanks for joining in. Hope you understand. Listen to yourself. Don't listen. Oh, we have another contender. We have Miss Ramos.
There you go.
Let's see. All right, guys.
All right, everybody.
That's it. Good luck. Go make something happen in 2022. Take it to the next level. But the other question you should ask is, what is the next level? Because like you said at the beginning, Taz, sometimes people feel like they're at that next level when they're still just at the beginning of level one. It's just when you're at the bottom of level one and you get to the top of level one, you think, I'm there. It's about getting as far as you can and maximizing that success. There's so many layers to this, right? Last thing I'm going to say, this is another example. There's people that say, I don't want multiple schools. I don't want multiple schools. Why not? Why not? I mean, if you're doing everything right and it's systemized and you could provide careers and you have people that want to work for you and be part of your company, how are you going to employ them? You can only hire so many people under one roof. So it's not like we open multiple schools because we want to. It's because we're doing such a good job, we have to. That's the difference, right? And most people don't want to do it because they associate multiple schools with multiple or more headaches. Well, that's because we don't have a system for the one school. I mean, there's just so many layers to it, but
right on.
That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys. We'll see everyone next week.
All right. Take care.